So if you haven't done this before with us, this is our Monday morning drawing session where we get on here and just work on whatever projects we have for the week and talk about tattoos and drawing pictures. If you went to try to get on the Zoom link, you may find that you had a bad link. I think Gabe is resetting that link at reinventingthetattoo.com right now. So if you want to jump on and actually draw with us, you can do that. Give him just a second to set that back up, and there should be a new link that pops up. In the meantime, I will go ahead and show you what I have to work on today. It's really early on in the layout phase. I'm just kind of feeling it out. Let's see here. Also, normally Gabe does this stuff, but we do this every Monday. Guy does a Monday night drawing group. So if you aren't subscribed to Reinventing the Tattoo or to Fireside Tattoo, make sure to go to our pages and check out all that we're up to. Also, Needle Jig. Gabe asked that I shout out Needle Jig because they are a sponsor of Reinventing the Tattoo. And also, I accidentally streamed to all of their channels yesterday while we were trying to figure this out. So I guess I owe Needle Jig an apology. All right, so let's see here. So I'll show you guys to start kind of what I'm working on here this morning while we're letting people in. And share. Okay. Hopefully everybody can see that. I've got this piece that I'm just blocking in some dark shapes on. I've got this huge cover up. Let me get back to the original kind of cover up. Got this big cover up right here that's sitting right in the center of his arm, which is no good. And he only wants to do a half sleeve. I'm trying to talk him into going at least 3/4 down his arm so I can have some more area to distract from. But I don't really have any problems solved yet. I just started plugging in some dark shapes. We have some really loose ideas of what this thing might be. It's kind of like an overcoming struggle kind of theme. So I'm still just playing with shapes. I really don't have any real subject matter yet. But this is where I stand. I'm gonna stop my stream here and see who else might be on here. Gabe says that the Zoom link is up to date now, so we should be good to go. Hey, what's up, Jason? How are you?
What's going on, Jake?
Man, we're just struggling this morning. We were trying to stream to multiple pages. We're trying to stream through the Fireside YouTube for a change, and that turned into, it seemed like it was going to work yesterday, and then it turned into trouble this morning. And of course, Gabe is trying to manage multiple events at once this morning. He's doing like he's hosting or judging a tattoo competition in India, and it's live streaming. So he's trying to do two things at once, which left me on my own here. Oh, that's cool. I like that piece.
Yeah.
Little
concept sketch for someone.
Yeah, super nice. That's for a hip and thigh? Is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah, hip, thigh, all the way up here. You've got, right at the kind of midway up the rib cage, maybe a little higher.
Yeah.
Still a few inches down from the armpit, butt cheek area, thigh area.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to work on this a little bit more and then shoot the draft over to them, see what they think. Make any tweaks necessary.
I love it.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, how's it going, Steph? How are you?
Hey, Steph.
Pretty good. Just let me get a hold of how this thing works.
All right.
How was it?
I'm going to try to keep up with the live stream as we're at it too. So I'll try to respond to anyone. I'm on the Fireside live stream, but I don't know where they all, if you're commenting from other areas, I may or may not see you. Hi, Shane. Hi, Mr. Raw Sauce. They say, hey, buddy, good morning. Looks like everything's working. It's best I can tell. So that's cool. All right. All right.
Nice,
So
nice,
Steph, what
nice.
are you working on this morning?
I'm working on drawing for the book. I'm working on a book which is basically going to be 33 paintings, like kind of A2 size.
Oh.
So I have to kind of chip them away. I've been working on it for like 9 months or a year.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
Oh. So
So basically,
you're working on assembling the book, or you're still working on the paintings for the book?
on the paintings, because I have it's 33 of them. I have, let's say, 12 finished.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have maybe 6 or 7, 5 already lined. So I'm trying to actually get all the drawings done, because then then it's just like, oh, you have an idea how long it takes to paint them, but the drawing is the stressful part.
Yeah.
So pretty much that.
What made you just? Man, I'm blocking in a cover up for. Actually, I'm way ahead. I'm drawing for a piece for not this Tuesday, but next. And it's just because I don't know where I'm going with it, so I'm just kind of doing a really rough block in to start, and I'll do a little screen share in a minute on that. But what made you take on something like putting a book together?
I had this idea, like, if somebody know me a little bit, know that I'm very good at putting a lot of things on my plate. So I'm like a lot of things, but I had this idea maybe 6-7 years ago, something like that, but never done it because I've done other things. And the idea basically was, put simply, I've been thinking about big Japanese stuff, back pieces, sleeves, and they all come for their own folklore, right? It's their stories, their culture. So then I thought, why can I not use my culture? Why can I not because with traditional especially, you can literally, as long as it looks right, you can draw anything, right?
Sure.
So I thought, why can I not use my culture? And I'm Italian, from Florence. So I thought, what's my culture? And where I'm from in Florence, there was a guy named Dante in 1300, pretty much, so Middle Age. And he wrote different things, but one of the most famous is called Divine Comedy. It's kind of like on the same level of Shakespeare, but in Italian. So it's a very high literature stuff, right? Have you seen the Da Vinci Code?
Yeah.
Or you know about it? Okay. Yeah. Have you seen Dante's Inferno?
I don't think I've seen it, no, but I know it. I mean, I know the story basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the same story. It's the same series, right?
Okay.
So basically, that movie, for people that maybe can relate, there is a video game as well. I think it's called Dante's Inferno, maybe. The story is taken from the book. So very quickly, the story is this metaphorical trip of this guy Dante, which is a metaphor. It's basically more of a dream, but it's him basically traveling through hell, purgatory, and heaven to reach salvation, right? And the whole book is very metaphorical, so everything has a meaning. Everything means something else, right? So salvation is represented by his loved one, which is called Beatrix, and she's an angel, right? So I thought, that would be cool to represent, because apart for the historical and literature value of it, metaphorically is very cool, especially when it goes into hell, right? Not because I like devilish stuff at all, but because it borrows a lot from Greek mythology. So you had women with spider legs, we had dudes with giant tails, we had flying dragons. It's very, very vivid, and it has a lot of meaning to it, right? So basically, I decided to illustrate hell because the numerology is very big in the book. So it's 100 chapters, 33 per book, plus an introduction. So I thought, I'm going to make 33 paintings because it's very Christian, the Holy Trinity, blah, 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 illustrating hell. So basically, I'm illustrating every round of hell. Do you want me to tell you very quick how that works? Because it's very interesting.
I would love to hear that. Yeah, absolutely.
So basically, let me show you something real quick, just to give you an idea. Somebody, I'm sure they saw the original Botticelli painting, which people are like, I have no idea. Maybe you see it like, oh, that one, which is basically the structure of hell. This is hell, okay? The way Dante imagined it, okay? So basically what it is a gigantic hole in his story under Jerusalem, all right? So basically when Lucifer, I don't know, I guess Lucifer was a fallen angel, right? He used to be an angel, then he became greedy, and then he got kicked out of heaven, right? So when he fell on Earth was so disgusted they didn't want to touch him. So the more he was falling, the more Earth was retracting, forming this gigantic hole, right? And basically Lucifer is trapped in the middle of the planet in this massive hole in a frozen lake called Cogito, right? And on the other side, you know, on one side it goes down, on the other side it goes up, and there is a mountain that form, which is purgatory. Above the mountain is heaven. That's the story, right?
Okay.
And hell basically is this massive hole, and the more you go down, is divided in circles, and every circle is basically an area for one specific sin. So kind of like the, what's his name, King Enma, I think, like the Japanese ruler of heaven, that ruler of hell that decide your punishment. Here there is a guy called Minose, which basically when you get there, like, okay, come here. What did you do? This and that. Okay, you go in there, right? And he assigns you a punishment. So each round is different sin, and for each sin there is a different punishment, which is governed by a law that is called law de contrapasso, which means you're gonna get punished with the kind of like the same thing that you did in life, but opposite.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's super rich, man. And I'm doing the book just because I'm doing the painting, because it's nice when you have a project. So when you want to paint, you know what you have to do instead of always have to come up with something. But I'm gonna make the book because when you see the painting, you might like it or not the way that it looks. But when I tell you what it is, he takes a whole another level, because every single thing that I put in each painting is a symbol of the story. And it's a symbol for the metaphorical, philosophical implication, the lesson that he wants to teach. So there is a mindfuck. So I want to make the book because it's nice when I explain this stuff, you know. So so no, that's me.
Yeah.
At the moment.
So each painting represents a different level in that in that hole all the way down. Where do they stand now? Is there any place where we can see the progress, or do you have any that are far enough along, or are they all kind of
the thing
evolving?
is, I'm not showing much at the moment, just because I want to, you know, don't want to spoil it. And then as well, I think it's nice when you get the full picture rather than little bits and pieces. And I was supposed to do an exhibition at the London Convention, but then it got canceled, which is cool because I had more time. You know, but I really want to make an exhibition, because I'm gonna give you a quick sneak peek. The thing is, they're all in the same color and style. So the thing is, when you see one is one thing. When you see a few next to each other, from far away, it almost looks like one painting, because it's all the same palette. So now I'm kind of like 1/3 of the way, and I want to see them all at once in one place, because I think when you will enter the room and you see this, it's like slap in the face, like bam, you know. So that's the idea. And ideally, but I think this is going to be very difficult because it takes a lot of space. In my little dream would be to find a place where it's kind of long or circular or whatever, so I can actually place them, you know, in a sequence. So it's almost like you, and I put like little notes. So it's almost like you recreating the journey. So you traveling through hell like him. You go lower and lower and lower and lower. Yeah. So that's you know?
That's
and
super
then,
cool.
And then
What a
hopefully,
great concept.
Thank you, man. And hopefully I can make as well an exhibition in Florence, because it's my city and that's where he's from. And people from Florence know this author, not just like a guy that wrote book. It's almost like one of the family. You know, I grew up 5 streets down from where he lived. I grew up next to a church where he's buried. So it's like one of the family. So back for friends and family, because my friends and family never see what I do because they don't even speak English. You know? So,
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice,
do you have contacts there? Would you be able to show in galleries there in Florence pretty easily, you think?
Not yet. Not yet, but I haven't really looked into it. So I'm going to have a look. It's just, you know, to show this to people in Florence and family and friends, because then they get to see what I do. You know, the scribbles and stuff. You know?
Yeah, that's awesome. I've got a couple of people here real quickly. Let's see. Jerry P says that's such a killer concept. Yeah, absolutely. Gina Marie says, I'm having a hell of a time coming up with a cover up on a very picky client, trying to cover a red rose with a banner that was already filled in black. I wish he was picky before this dumb tattoo. Yeah. Oh, you're trying to, so they have an existing red rose and banner that you're trying to cover with something else, I guess is what. Unfortunately, it's like the story of our lives. There's Melissa. Let me let her in. I always just, and what I'm doing with this one that I'm playing with right here today is just trying to forget about what I'm covering it with and come up with some shapes that seem like they might be appealing, you know, like they might connect the dots between the existing cover up and the area of the body. And I'm just trying to find like jigsaw shapes together that are interesting that would serve as a cover up and also flow with the body and not look like a big dense area that I'm just trying to
what is it that they have? What is it that you're covering?
Oh, I'm covering here. I'll share the screen again. This is let's see, share screen. Hey Melissa, how are you? Let's see.
Just getting some coffee in me.
Gotcha.
Hey Melissa.
All right, here I'll share really quick. Let me drop back what I'm already starting here. He just has this really heavy right in the center of his arm. Can you see that? Yeah, and he only wants to do a half sleeve, and not, you can't really tell it here, but he has his name down the back of his tricep as well. But it's thinner and not that big of a deal. But yeah, the problem really is just the space that he's willing to give up, and then just where this thing sits. So I'm slowly, a lot of times, and like I just started this morning, so I'm nowhere on it yet. But I'll just start to block in dark and light shapes and see. He wants to do some type of overcoming struggle, or past struggle. So at first I thought I might do a black and a white serpent, and then I thought maybe I'll do a serpent and a dove, and the dove trying to get away. So I started to pull in. Let me see. I started to kind of pull in. I've gotten nowhere really, but that's what it is. We'll see. We'll see where it goes.
It's a nice positive negative kind of contrast, though, I think, that you're putting in.
Yeah, thanks.
It's a nice rhythm of dark and light, I think.
Thank you. I hope so. My biggest struggle, I think, is going to be with the just the play. I don't want that center area to be so dense. So that's why I'm hoping I can use maybe a black serpent to kind of whip through, and that way I can use some of because there are plenty of light tones in between, the flame shapes and the letters. So hopefully I can tease some of that stuff out and not be stuck with this big dark, big dark
good thing
area.
Good thing is that it has, though, apart from for the lettering and stuff, it has those lines which are just lines. So that's a good thing. So you can kind of
kind of play with them. I'm hoping maybe I could use either the body of a serpent or maybe like the wings of a dove kicking up or down or something to distract from it. We'll see.
What about a big old raven?
Yeah, I could do a raven. Luckily, I'm open on the subject matter. He wants that concept, but we haven't really talked about what the subject is. I've already done a full back on him, which is like a Father Time kind of back piece. And so what we're going to do is this right arm is going to represent kind of past struggle, and then time across his back, and then down the left arm, kind of like his family, kids, his current life. So outside of those major kind of concepts, we can kind of go anywhere. Of course, on his left shoulder, he's got the same problem. He's got praying hands. He's definitely overcoming some past struggles just from his tattoo decisions alone.
Have you tattooed him before?
Yeah, I've done his full back. I've got if you look on my Instagram, it's a big kind of full black and gray Father Time piece. It's a clock, like an old man with a long beard and a clock. It was like my best effort at looking like Steve Moore. But it didn't work.
Nice.
Yeah.
One thing at a time.
Right.
Just a question, because I use Zoom sometimes. I'm on my phone. How do I switch from live speaker to gallery? Because then I can see
on the phone.
I can't find it.
I don't know on the phone. I do it on its upper right hand corner on the desktop. Jason or Melissa, either you guys know. Melissa, you're doing it on your iPad. Is it the same?
Sorry, what was the question again?
on your phone, how to switch to gallery view from just speaker view.
So if you swipe either to the right or to the left, it'll switch it to a gallery view.
Yes.
And that's on Android.
Thank you so much.
Most definitely.
That was easy.
Oh,
what are you guys? Nice to see you, because I didn't see you before. Hi, Jason. What are you guys drawing?
I'm working on a tattoo for end of the month. Let me zoom in. So this is a memorial that's on her mom, and we are changing it up and putting it on her daughter. It's a grandmother's memorial. She basically said, make it pretty. So I'm basically taking this idea and making it mine.
Okay. So wait, her mom already has a similar tattoo, and it was in memorial of the grandmother, and now the daughter is getting your version of that tattoo?
Correct. This is the mom's tattoo when it was fresh.
Okay.
And she's like, make it pretty.
So what's your plan? What are you gonna What's your thought process?
Just basically using the same elements. I've asked her, you know, what can be changed, what can't be changed, and ultimately I'm able to take this design and make it my own, but having the same elements incorporated into it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
it's going on the
things,
same area of the body or someplace different?
other side, so it will
Okay.
be flipped.
Okay.
So basically some flowers that are pretty. She told me the things she didn't like about the bird. This is not my style at all, so it'll be way different, but it'll be similar.
Yeah, cool. Wait to see what you come up with on it. That's always a little bit of a challenge when you're trying to interpret what someone else has done, but you draw nothing like them. And you're trying to keep some aspects of it, but it's like, yeah, you don't really want to just be like, well, that, you know, this person didn't draw very well, so I'd rather scrap everything.
Yeah. She's very open to my style. They've been watching my work for a while, so they're like, yeah, just do your thing.
Yeah. Jason, that's coming along well. Do you normally come through, Jason, and do like all of your like finished line work and then shade, or what was the process to get to that line version?
Oh boy. So I started out, so they sent me like basically an idea of what they were looking for, a few reference photos of different styles of the stuff that they really like. We went back and forth about, okay, well, you want flowers in her hair and you want her to be surrounded by, you know, botanical stuff. What kind of flowers do you want? Okay, you want lilies, but what kind of lily? You know, because, and I started to go into that. I'm like, are you talking calla lilies, water lilies, stargazers, day lilies? I'm kind of a flower nerd, so I know a lot about them. And I'm like, let's start narrowing this down. She sent me a couple of pictures of some red velvet lilies. So we kind of stuck those in her hair. I think I've got like my whole process in this one. So obviously I started out, we'll just get rid of all of the other layers. So had her send me a good straight on shot because she lives about an hour and a half away. So it was kind of difficult for her to come in just for the consultation. Had her send me a good straight on shot of her side. And she sent me another one of the approximate measurement of, you know, how big she wanted it. From there, took some stock photos and started throwing them together. Finally ended up coming up with something like this. We'll get rid of all the line drawings. Kind of threw some tentacles together using a couple of the Tattoo Smart brush sets.
Yeah.
This was a really good photo of a skull that I found from one of the umpteen hundreds of skulls that I have on my iPad.
Right.
You know, did some research into octopus tentacles, grabbed a couple of stock photos, just kind of threw that together as a mock-up. Just to illustrate where I was going with it. From there, started sketching it out, really starting to lay down like some of the line work and some of the rough shading on it, just to get an idea of, you know, general flow and fit. Said, okay, well, time to work on the lady head. So started out with a couple of different stock photos here. So this is what I originally started out with. Really good glamour shot that I found. So I'm like, oh, perfect. Love the eyes in it. Face is not at the right perspective and with the right expression I was looking for. So went through, kind of added on another stock photo face, threw some lilies in the hair. Cool, great. Good photo. We can layer that right over top. From there, took it, added it in black and white, did some contrast stuff to it. Started sketching that out as far as like, where do I want the hair to go? Where do I want the general overall flow to be? You know, where do I want the waves to end up going? You know, how do I really want this to come together and flow with that area of the body? I always prefer to do my line drawings first and then go after that and start building off of that. Especially when it comes down to faces and things like that, because I I'm not a massive fan of doing people faces of any type. It's just something I've always struggled with. And I do it constantly, just drawing them, trying to get better at them. But it ends up coming down to, okay, well, I'm working on that, but then someone walks in and wants a big Japanese dragon back piece. Cool. Yeah. Now I have to set that aside and really work on my scale work, really work on my flow and form on that. So I work off of a lot of stock photos especially for different types of faces and heads. Now I'm just going through and blocking in some rough ideas of shading and coloring. And I think we're going to stick to all monochromatic as per their description. So we'll see how that goes. Shouldn't be too difficult, but that's my general overall purpose. Just getting the general concept down and seeing, okay, how does this work? What can I get to flow where? What elements can I add or subtract to make it look right? You know, they wanted the skull with the tentacles kind of dragging Mother Nature down. So I'm going to go through and tweak some of the hair, add some more flowers and leaves to give it more of a Mother Nature-y kind of feel.
Okay.
You know, they wanted water and elements like that intertwining with the hair. So I'm going to go once again back through and bring the hair down a little bit more in this area, and then probably bring some more of the hair to overlap this tentacle here. Just to play around a lot with foreground background interaction and different elemental interaction. Just trying to get a better cohesive feel to it.
Yeah. Do you always do you typically search out reference first, or do you sketch out the concept first, or
usually start off with like a little thumbnail. Usually their description's pretty accurate. You know, they wanted female head with flowers above this skull with tentacles. They kind of gave me free rein to do whatever I wanted as far as positioning, expression, other types of elements to add in. But usually it's pretty, I want something like this in this area with this next to it. Cool. Yeah. All right. Let's make that look awesome.
Yeah. One thing I've been trying to do a lot lately, because I find that if I start searching for reference too early on, I'll let it completely dictate the composition. Right. Is that I'll just take the basic ideas of, like I was just starting, you can't tell in this piece that I'm just starting on now because it's just dark shapes, but just kind of deciding, what the major elements are, what the shapes are that make those things up, and then what direction I want to present them from. So if I want to find like a horizon line, and be looking up at this shape and down at this shape, and then I kind of block in the basic layout, and then I go and search for the reference that fits that layout, rather than just searching for skull reference or something like that. Like I know that I need a skull to be at this particular angle. Because I've already decided what that angle is going to be in my thumbnail or in my block in. I was running into trouble doing, when I would look for reference too early on, I would get hung up on really great photos that I wanted to snag something from, and then they wouldn't work with what I had in my head. So I ended up changing what was in my, the composition that was in my head to fit the photo that I thought was, that I end up talking myself into thinking that it's cooler than my original idea, like, oh, well, this, right. So that's that. And so I would end up just constantly banging my head against the same wall, trying to figure out why this thing isn't working. It's like, oh, because this reference that I pulled really doesn't fit my original idea for the tattoo, or my idea wasn't developed enough. And now I'm trying to draw to this particular reference photo, and it doesn't fit the way that I normally draw,
Right. Yeah, I've been.
It's interesting because.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, it's interesting because sometimes it makes me think of something that my friend was telling me the other day about something completely unrelated. But she was saying, the expression of killing your darlings.
Yeah.
And sometimes you try an idea and you like really much that picture and you really want to make it work, but it doesn't. And sometimes you waste a whole day or a whole week. And you need to actually really let it go. Yeah, it's like your baby that.
Yeah, I had a painting teacher in school that was huge on that. He used that term a lot, kill your darlings. It was, you would I wasn't a very good painter, and I would accidentally stumble into something that worked kind of early on, and then I'm trying to paint everything else to that. Like maybe I just got the eye just right or something like that, and I just laid the paint down, the right way, luckily, and then I'm trying to paint everything else to it, and he would recognize what it was that I was painting to, and he would just come with a rag and wipe it out on me, like without even telling me. He just walk up and wipe it out.
Nice.
It was so mean, but it helped.
When you're not that confident, that must be so scary.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you're not very confident with your skills, and then they do that, like, fuck.
Yeah, because then you're just like, oh, that was the part that I gotten right, and he's like, yeah, I know, do it again.
Yeah.
Try it again. Like, I know Gabe is normally reading everyone's comments. I am not. I don't have that much screen space. I'm only looking at the Fireside YouTube stream. So if you're commenting on Reinventing the Tattoo or something like that, I'm sorry, I don't see it. I could take a second. If one of you guys want to share a little more, I could take a second and try to log in and find where other comments might be coming from. I hate to be ignoring people, but I know that normally Gabe is reading comments left and right. So I'm
keeping up with the comments on the YouTube video.
Yeah, I'm looking at the ones on Fireside's YouTube stream, but I don't know. I know it's going out on all the reinventing stuff as well. And like I said, normally Gabe handles this, but we're trying it with me doing it all this time.
So on the reinventing side, because that's the side I went to get the Zoom link, the chat area is not available.
Okay. Gabe may have done that intentionally so that I wasn't overwhelmed trying to see too many. Okay, well, good. That helps me. I won't bother logging into that then. I'm just going to stick with you. I'm going to stick with the YouTube stream. So if you're watching on something else and you have something to say, just go to the Fireside YouTube and I'll see it. What about Melissa? What about you as far as your layout? I see kind of how you're laying this one out with some kind of basic flower shapes. And do you? I guess you typically start with lines instead of masses as well. You start by laying out line work first.
Well, with this, it's like the layout is already there for the most part. So I'm just kind of sketching in my own version of things. Like these flowers, I don't like that they have 4 petals instead of 5. It just feels weird.
Yeah.
Because they look more of like they were supposed to be hibiscus, but they're not. So I'm not entirely sure. But like normally, as I'm working with something, I kind of just do this sketchy bit, and then I'll go into those layers and I'll kind of refine and pull it back. And then depending on whether or not I need anything further, like any kind of shade work or anything, that's when I'll figure out if I need to, do some basic shading in there before the tattoo appointment.
Yeah. To your point, like looking at what should be a hibiscus, but it doesn't have enough flowers. That's the downside to drawing without reference. A lot of times, I'll lay out the concept, but then I do go back and verify that I actually know what I'm drawing. That's even if I'm not using the actual photo. It's like, how many petals does that thing have?
Yeah, and even these don't really look like hibiscus. I'm just trying to get the shape of them. And I'm wanting to get one of them turned because this looks a little weird to me. How, I don't even know if this is a hummingbird or if it's supposed to be like a swallow. The tail tells me swallow, but she doesn't want the long tail. So I'm not entirely sure. I know she'll be happy with what it is that I do, which is a little bit easier.
Right.
But at the same time, it's not conducive to why the bird would be there. So I'm kind of trying to turn one of them in so that there's a reason the bird is there.
Yeah, makes sense. Stephen Beatty says, hi, Jake and all from Blackburn, UK. How's it going, Stephen? Thanks for jumping in and hanging out with us. I guess it's not morning for you. I was going to say this morning. And I just got a text from Gabe saying it looks great. That means it's working. So what?
Are you guys all from the US?
I think we all are. I'm in Tennessee. I know that Jason's in Philly, and Melissa, you're out west, right? Or no?
Yeah, I'm out in Oregon.
Oregon, yeah, that's right. Yeah, all US.
Steph, I did want to chime in earlier. I made a trip out to Florence last September, and
how was it?
It was unbelievable, absolutely life altering.
It's beautiful, huh?
I would love to hear a little bit more about the exhibition you're putting on and when and where. See if I can't make it back over for that.
Yeah.
The thing is now, I think like anybody else in the world at the moment, everything is suspended because you don't know, you don't know I don't think you can really make plans, intentions, but then maybe in 2 months they tell you, oh, you know what, actually this is going to happen, like, So I have an intention of doing those things, but I have no idea about a specific timeline just because, I don't want to be bummed and organize things and then they don't happen, so
right.
not sure. I think that realistically to finish the whole thing with the editing and then putting into a book, blah, 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 it's going to take me at least until summer, at least. So
I can imagine.
if if the London convention is going to happen in July, I might do the exhibition there. I'll be honest, I would not bet money on it because I think the conventions and events of like that type, like concert, like festivals, big gatherings, they're going to be the very last thing that they will release. So I really hope it's going to happen, but I don't know if conventions will really happen in again next year. But about Florence, I don't know. About Florence, I don't know. I still haven't looked into any specific places, but would be nice like after summer, because first of all, Florence, Tuscany in general, Italy is very nice in before and after summer, because in summer it's too hot. But September, October, or May, June, it's like 23 degrees. It's fantastic, and then it would be a good timeline, finish, because then as well, after I do all the exhibition, I'm going to sell the original. So I don't want to let too much time go by between if I manage to do those exhibitions. So hopefully fall, stuff like that.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
What was the best thing that you liked of Florence when you went there?
Oh man. Just to be honest with you, just walking around.
Yeah.
There were so many just amazing things that you could see just walking around and inside, everywhere. Right outside the Duomo was amazing. I would just sit and stare at that for 2-3 hours. Everything. I actually found an art supply store, picked up a couple of things while I was there.
Close to the Duomo?
Yep. Right around the corner from it.
Rigacci, by any chance?
Maybe.
Okay. It's like a long street from the Duomo going into another square, right?
Yes.
Something like that?
Yeah, yes. Yeah. It was
it's quite
right outside the Dante Alighieri's, is it a street or a house that's right there?
Yeah, there is his house in the center. If that's,
So it was right around the corner from that. I remember that.
You know what the craziest thing that when I went to visit that house that struck me was? How short these people were in those times. Literally,
there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong. I'm just saying, like, I'm thinking as an average, how much people grew. Like you look at kids now and they're like, my cousin is 15 and he's 1.80 m and he has like 45 size shoes. I'm like, fuck, man. I guess it's nutrition and all of that. But you see those beds and they have very small beds. So that kind of makes you think about what they ate. I don't know. Think about all this stuff, how life was. What do you eat? Not much nutrition.
Absolutely. How much you walk. I mean, all of that has to do with it,
Yeah. We and I hope we still make it happen. Gabe and I were looking at doing kind of a joint project between Fireside and Tattoo Now, where we were doing it. We were calling it Inspiring Tours, but basically we were trying to rent a castle in Tuscany and kind of in the Florence area, and we had it all the way pinned down to the castle, which is way more affordable for a week than you would guess, believe it or not. But
do you know where he was?
I would have to. No, it's been about a year. It was probably at least 6 months before COVID that we had planned to launch it. And I'm glad that it didn't. I'm glad that it ended up hitting a roadblock because we didn't anticipate COVID. What basically happened is we had Nick Baxter and Amy Cornwell as the two kind of leaders of it, and then Amy had something else come up and had to back out, so we were trying to find a second leader for the retreat. And during that time, we got hit with COVID. But no, I forget exactly where the castle was, but it slept like 30 people. It really seemed like it could, and it was like, just in the Italian countryside. It was so pretty. And
that's pretty dope.
Yeah, I forget the price, but it was like jaw-dropping how inexpensive it really was for that many people. It's like, wow, you can actually rent a castle. It's crazy. So
Sounds very aristocratic.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So hopefully we get to do that again in the next couple of years.
What was the idea of the retreat kind of thing?
Well, it kind of what we do with Fireside all the time, trying to kind of blurring the lines between tattooing and fine art. So we were trying to find established, well-known tattooers who were really accomplished in other mediums. And, with Baxter, the ability to go out and do plein air painting would have been really nice. And Amy Cornwell has a really kind of illustrative, painterly and illustrative style. And so we were trying to find a couple of people that would complement each other. So we would do, and then sponsors would be able to bring, a couple of their own artists to do partial day talks. So it would be similar if you've ever done any of the Worldwide Tattoo, or if you ever did Paradise Retreat. Similar concept, just with fewer people and fewer more kind of like one-on-one attention, I think, with just fewer people and fewer leaders. So
sounds awesome. I'm sure, once the world hopefully gets back to normal, it should definitely not be impossible,
Yeah, no, I hope not. I hope we can make it work. I'm going to see. We've got a couple more comments. Andrew Reject says, "Morning, everyone. Love your channel, Jake. Hope you're doing well." Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate the support. I think we're all doing as well as we can for a Monday morning. Stephen Beatty says it's almost 3 p.m. on a rainy day and tattoo shops are still closed, non-essential. Yep, story of our lives.
That is in California or other
That's in
states as well?
UK. Yeah, that's in Blackburn, UK.
Okay.
Yeah. In California, poor California, they just keep getting kind of teased back and forth. They open and they reclose, from what I understand.
Yeah. So it's a weird year, man.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can convince some people to take this vaccine and get this thing over with by this time next year. I'm ready to travel again. I tell you what, I know I've said it before on this, but we are struggling to come up with content for Fireside. Like, I depend so much on going to tattoo shows and just sitting down and talking to people. And like one show, we can get 2 months worth of episodes, and then then it's kind of off my plate, and Scott and Allie, my team, kind of edit and handle everything. But right now it's just like every week, every Saturday or Sunday, I get a text message from one of them like, "Do we have a video this week?" I'm like, if I can come up with something, we'll see.
Can you imagine how he's gonna feel when you can do the first convention after this year?
Yeah,
it's gonna be just mind blowing. All these people, the excitement.
Absolutely.
I don't know about you guys. I got quarantined when COVID hit in France, because I went for the convention and then it got canceled, and then I got kind of stuck there because Denmark, where I'm the moment, closed the borders. I'm like, fuck. So I've been stuck in a flat alone for 2 months. Like you could not go out. You need a paper for the police. So I would go out like half an hour a week, and that was intense, so I really hope that there's no need to do those things anymore.
I hope you're right. What were you doing how did you end up stuck in Denmark? What were you doing in Denmark to begin with?
The thing is, I used to live in Denmark. I used to live and work in Denmark, and then I left kind of like 3 years ago. And so basically before COVID, for 2 years, I've changed one country a week. So it's a lot of moving around, but I did it as well, apart from personal, need for whatever, meeting people and stuff, as well for the other things that I do, like the charity projects and stuff. So you can actually go meet people and, organize things and stuff like that. And so I was using kind of this a little bit as a base, because as I'm working on this book, I need to make the time for it. And that means that you have to work less, you have to choose, you have to sacrifice something. So because I had to do this, then here I had some family, so I could save on rent and stuff like that, and just, you know, be home and paint all the time, you know, because otherwise you can't afford it, you know. And then I went to France, and then I got stuck there, but I got friends, so luckily, you know, there was a flat for rent and stuff. But still, you know.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that I mean, it's nice that you already had that project in the works and had something to stay focused on through all of this. It seems like the people who've done the best have had something to stay focused on. We one of the last podcasts we did was with what's his name, James. It's too early in the morning. That does the Orbs project, James
Hall.
Oh yeah, good Lord. He had basically he just had piles of paintings behind him, and you know they had been locked down and they hadn't been tattooing at all. And he was like, I just treat my painting like a 8 to 5 work days. Like I get up, I start painting at 8 in the morning. I take a lunch break, you know, paint from you know, again 1 or 2 until 5 or 6, and do that every day. And he just had tons and tons of work to show for it. I think that's probably one of the best ways to stay sane whenever you're not
if you have something to do, whatever that is, you know. But you know what, I'm sure that, you know, this thing have been said already plenty, but I keep hearing, I try to, you know, look at the glass half empty, and you know, I hear a lot of people that go, apart from some struggles which, you know, are self-evident, but a lot of good out of things. And as well, the fact that some people have been put in a place where you've been forced to do certain things that maybe before you were, you know, pushing forward. For example, like a change in your business or whatever. You know, I was talking with a customer, and you always wanted to do this thing, and then he's been forced to do it because he's a DJ. So his whole work, you know, situation completely annihilated. So it turned up good because he started doing the other thing, and he could express, you know, these other desires and qualities that he always, you know, wanted to do but never cultivated.
Yeah.
And you see like, oh, you know what, actually it's like a gift in disguise, you know, if you want to, you know, see that. And I have a lot of friends that I hear a lot of things like this, you know, I did this, I did that, you know, I changed this thing in my life because, you know, I've been forced to. So some good comes out of it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That is true. That's a good point. All right, it is almost time. It's 9 o'clock. It's almost time for me to check out. Do you want me to make? I can make one of you guys host if you guys want to keep rolling for a little while. What do you think?
I'll be around for like 15 minutes because I got a consultation.
Okay.
But I can do whatever, you know, helps.
Okay. Well,
as long as I'm capable.
Okay. Cool. I'll tell you what. I will, Jason. I'll go ahead and make you.
Cool.
Make you host, so you guys can kind of keep it rolling as long as you want. And then if I don't get up and go to I do this 9:30 CrossFit class every morning. I've been going to the same class for like 9 or 10 years now, but if I don't get up and do this on Monday morning for whatever reason, it kind of throws my whole week off. I mean, I do it every day, but if I skip Monday, I'll end up skipping Tuesday too. So
gotcha.
That's why I don't do it. But well, guys, let's see if there are any comments before I go. Let's see. Okay, I've got a couple. Hold on. Do you guys shade and or color pieces? This is from Ann Bones. Do you guys shade and or color pieces to completion prior to tattooing, or do you leave some room for changes once you're in the skin? Anyone want to tackle that? You guys do full color studies before you start?
Not really. I started lately doing a bit more, but just because I started studying anatomy and drawing as well again and stuff like that. So when I do it more for fun, just to finish up the thing. But otherwise, you know, if you would have to color everything, it would take a very long time. I don't know if it's suitable for, you know, every single project. Yeah, maybe the ones that you are more unsure about, you know, when you need to at least for me, when I need to test. Otherwise, a lot of stuff I kind of like make it on the go.
Yeah. I'm the same way. Only if I'm really trying to if I'm trying to push myself or do something really unique, trying to change my color palette, or if I, you know, don't have a good understanding, I'll push it as far as it needs to go. But yeah, I tend to rely on making decisions on the fly. The thing is, well, for me, I'll have reference and I'll have it set up next to me and I'll look at it to start, but then I end up completely forgetting about it no matter what. When I'm tattooing, I just kind of like dive in and never look away from the tattoo. So even if I've done a color study, the chances of me sticking to it that very closely are pretty slim.
Yeah. What about you guys?
Yeah. What about you guys?
I mean, I enjoy doing as many color studies and value studies as I can prior to tattooing, just because I feel like it just gives me a little bit more of a comfortable level and a little bit more confidence when I go into it, especially if it's something, super huge or, something I'm not used to doing. I really do thoroughly enjoy just sitting down, working out all the little kinks before I even sit down to start tattooing. It's just something that I enjoy doing. Plus it gives me something to do with my hands, and my hands sit around and I'm not really doing much. Well, that's when I usually
what do you draw?
getting into trouble. So try to stay out
What
of
do you
trouble
draw
as
with?
much as I can.
What do you draw with normally? It's more like digital, more like
a little bit of both.
pencil?
So I do a lot of digital and analog layout. From there, sometimes I'll grab a piece of really nice heavyweight watercolor paper. I'll do a printout over top of that in like a 20% opacity, and go through and I'll take standard graphite pencils or colored pencils, depending on what kind of value study I'm doing, and I'll work with that by hand. Just
Color
because I feel
studies
like I have a little bit more control over it.
For color studies, the digital stuff is the best, isn't it?
I don't know, man. I've been a stickler for my liquid watercolor and my liquid acrylics for a long, long time. I find it just really lends itself to working in almost an exact tattoo medium with how I like to build my tones and colors. So that's just my thought and what I like.
I think for experimenting, for experimenting with different color palettes quickly, digital is pretty cool. I was watching, I think I mentioned this a week or two ago, I was watching the Peter Moorbacher interview, and he was drawing, kind of doing exactly what we're doing now. He was drawing as he was being interviewed, and he got all of his value study done, and then he started doing these what do you call the overlays in Photoshop? I've got Photoshop pulled up, like the adjustment layers that have all of the gradient maps. He would do gradient map adjustment layers and he would just grab two different colors, and it would literally create fully finished like color renderings, I guess, for lack of a better term, that he could just quickly change, like with like the click of a mouse. He was just playing with different like warm, cool, bright, muted, funky little color combinations, and then he would find one that he thought was cool, and he would start to tweak it from there, just like using the eyedropper tool, grabbing it and like punching up areas and dropping them back. But it was crazy to watch him go through and play with so many different color combinations and do full-on color studies just by like clicking a button. And he found color like combinations that none of us would find if we were just like picking stuff, if we were going through and trying to mix paint and do it, or just going through and grabbing color and manually painting it in. Those gradient maps were super cool. I think that's what they're called. Does that sound right? Yeah, gradient map. I'm looking at it now. So
sometimes that stuff even happened by accident.
Yeah. Okay.
Like you playing with it. Oh, you know what? It is good. Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm gonna check out. I'm gonna get out of here. Great to see you guys. I'll see you next week. Jason, you're the host now, so whenever you're done, you can close it out, and I assume it'll close out on the Fireside YouTube channel. We'll find out.
It should. I'll let you know if it doesn't.
Okay, sounds good. All right, I'll see you guys soon. Thanks.
Take care, bud.
All right, bye.
Enjoy, bro. Jason, how is it where you're at with the whole shops things?
Oh, we're still open. We're still open and trucking along. In fact, I just went in yesterday to tattoo a buddy of mine from Florida. We more or less knocked out a whole 3/4 sleeve on him yesterday. So it was a long day. But yeah, every business is normal. Business as usual. Nothing's really changed so much.
Yeah.
So we've been very fortunate that we haven't really been that affected with the area that I'm in. Philadelphia itself has been pretty much shut down, but out in the suburbs, everything is still going strong.
Yeah, it's so hard to hear, you know, when you have like California, for example, or someplace in the UK or Italy even, you know, when they keep opening and closing, opening and closing. I don't know how it is over there, but I see the difference, for example, between Denmark, where I'm at the moment, and places like Italy or UK. But in Italy, you know, they promise a lot of financial support, but you don't really get it.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I have friends that still are waiting for the money from July, you know. And the thing is, you still have to, and you still have to pay rent and you know, feed kids and stuff. That stuff doesn't wait. You can't wait. So some countries don't work. Well, here in Denmark, for example, it's clockwise, you know. It's overall, and then there's always exception. So sometimes it's from friends that had to kind of burn through their savings and stuff, you know.
Right.
But
I think I think the approach that what was it, Australia? I think the approach that they took would have ultimately been the most beneficial for everyone. But I mean, obviously I'm not part of the government, so because they've pretty much eradicated everything going on over the past few months.
Yeah.
But I mean, everyone was literally kept indoors for, I think, 4 months at a shot. The government basically stepped in and said, okay, listen, everything's shut down. Everyone that collects money for rent, defer that and tack that on to the end of it. If you have a mortgage for a house, postpone that for, you know, a few months. We'll supplement the income that you would otherwise be making until you can collect it then. But they went through and they've got, I think, 4 cases in the whole country. You know, all businesses are back up and running.
Yeah.
Everything
New
is
Zealand
going
is the
back to
same.
normal. So, I mean, I just really think that would have been the best bet. But
yeah, I think isolation. Yeah, it's. I think isolation helps somehow. You know, I think, for example, for Europe, it's a little bit more complicated because of how for example, some places like Italy, if you close tourism for too long, even if it's
it'll
going to
cripple the
eradicate
economy.
the virus, whatever, but then it's literally going to kill big time because we live on that. Australia, I'm sure the same, but I don't know. It's tricky. I definitely would not want to be a politician, man, right now.
No,
It'd be so
absolutely
difficult
not.
to figure all those things out. You know?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. That I think would be absolutely terrible right now.
Yeah, because whatever. I think that whatever you do, without choosing sides, whatever you do, you're gonna get shit from somewhere.
Oh, absolutely. You can't make everyone
Because-
happy, but at the same time, no matter what decision you make, it's going to be the wrong decision to someone.
Yeah, it's gonna affect somebody somehow. Yeah. But so your next plan, when you can, is to go back to Europe. You said to Italy, or
Yes, yes. I'm absolutely enamored with Europe in general. I've been there at least once a year over the past 6 years. Um, the UK a couple of times for the London Tattoo Convention, Italy a couple of times for Rome and Florence, Ireland, France. Where else have I gone over there? I'm talking to a buddy of mine named Mikkel out in Scotland. Once they're back up and running, I'd like to go out there and do a little bit of a guest spot.
yeah.
But
Is there
I
any
fell
other
in love with
place?
Europe. I love it.
Any other place that is on your like bucket list
Oh
eventually?
yeah. Yeah. Well, I started talking to some people for rides of passage out in Melbourne, Australia for December. So I might try to head out there and do that. And if I do that, then I'm going to hop from there up to Tokyo and go and stay with a
Nice.
cousin of mine that lives in Tokyo for a week or so.
You been to Japan before?
Nope, never.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's one of those places that, especially if you come from tattooing, you have a previous, passion for it and stuff. It's one of the best trips you can do, because there is so much that you're gonna like, the food and the art and they have it all in such a small place.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they've got one thing specifically that I really want to see the most when I do get out to Japan is and I forget what university it's actually at, but they actually have a historic collection of tattooed human skins.
Oh yeah, it's a university. Yeah.
And that is like that's me, making a pilgrimage to the Holy Land. Like that is everything to me. I saw that when I was back in college, when I was still studying tattoo, and fell in love with it. And, that's like a life goal of mine. If I can make it out there and just glimpse one of them, I can die a happy man.
You will. I mean, it's a totally achievable goal, if the world is normal.
Well, yeah. Well, and if I'm allowed access to that collection, because apparently it's very, very strict with who gets access to it. So,
do you have any friends that made it, or people that made it?
Not exactly. My one cousin is a student over in Tokyo, so he might be able to get access to it. But other than that, I don't really know anyone that would be able to get me access to it. So that's kind of a bummer, but I don't know. I'll find a way. I'll find a way.
Do you feel that the fact that is difficult makes it even better?
Oh, absolutely.
I kind of feel that way. If it would be like, oh, that's so easy, book it online, bum. But the fact that it's difficult and you might not make it, I think that if you make it, it's gonna be a million times better, because it's really
it's like cooking your own meal. It always tastes better when you cook it yourself.
Yeah.
That's
the challenge that you have to overcome.
Absolutely. And it's just going to be that much sweeter. So, that's a life goal of mine to achieve. And it will happen one day, either sooner or later, but it will happen. I guarantee it. It's just a matter of time. Even to the point where, and I hate to say this, but if I got to bribe someone, I will bribe someone.
I'm sure you'll find it. I'm sure you'll find a way, especially if you said that you had the connection with your cousin.
Yeah.
Is that your cousin? Yeah. Because I think when it comes to like the university world, if they can get some sort of permit for study or whatever,
that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah. If you go to Europe and need any, tips or something, let me know, because of all the traveling, I know people a little bit everywhere. And I know it's always nice, at least that's what I like when I travel, when I get some local, information. So if you need any help or something, just send me a message on Instagram or something.
That'd be amazing, man. What is your Instagram?
Stef _Bastian, STEF _Bastian, BASTIAN.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Because it's always better, know where to go, where not to go, and as well things that perhaps you haven't considered because maybe you haven't heard of it, but recommended by a local. It's always more authentic, especially with food and that kind of stuff. Especially places like maybe if you haven't been, like Spain or that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Spain's definitely on my list. So is the Netherlands and the Amsterdam Tattoo Museum. I still have to make it out to, I would love to make it out to Greece, Scotland, and there was one or two other places I'd love to get to.
Nice. There is a guy, I don't know if you know it from Instagram. The account, I think, is Scottish Tattoo History. His name is Terry Manton, and I interviewed him for the podcast. And he stopped tattooing a long time ago, but he dedicates his life to research on Scottish tattoo history. Really? And he's literally, he's literally he's like a detective, dude. This guy, he go hunts for newspaper bits from fucking turn of the century, and then he go finds the family of somebody that might be related to that person that was tattooing 100 years ago, and find some old. It's insane. The work he does is insane, and you can see in his page, Scottish tattoo history, all those bits, which are super interesting because it's the history of Scottish tattooing from before 19 till later. And when I interviewed him, it basically was just like because he was just like and it's so so interesting. So if you go to Scotland, might be something nice to have a look into before, because you're gonna see things with a different eye as well, I think.
That's awesome. Definitely. Yeah. I'll definitely take a look at that.
Yeah.
I've been a huge tattoo nerd for a long time, so anything historical, and I'm all about it.
Yeah, have a look at that account, because it's really rich. Instead of making, because what I do, I try to get as many old timers as I can, in my interviews, because time goes by. Like people have been in the business for a long time, like Lal Hardy, Hanky Panky, that kind of stuff. And I was thinking of trying to make a sort of a special series now and every few months where it's just about the tattoo history, like the episode that I had with him. And it's so big because then, especially the people that are a bit more new to the game, they see what where this comes from, and that is not just Instagram. And I think it might help you to develop some sort of appreciation for how you have it easier than before. Before you would want it to buy red and you get beaten up, that kind of stuff. So yeah, and people like him are very, very, it's insane. They do so much work to preserve that. So for the people that are a bit more nerdy, it's like gold,
Yeah.
So
yeah, I won't ever forget meeting Lyle Tuttle back at the Philadelphia Tattoo Convention one year. It was absolutely mind altering, especially because at the time I was still a bit younger in my career, and was just totally enamored with all of these guys. Actually, I think it was the Bristol Tattoo Club that actually had a full meeting at the Philadelphia Tattoo Convention the one year. And it was everyone. Shanghai Kate was there. Lyle Tuttle. I think even Ed Hardy showed up. I could be wrong. But
Doc Price
Philadelphia Eddie. I mean, all of the great historic tattooers were there.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and jump off of here.
For you.
Okay, Melissa, take care. Have a good night. I'll see you later.
Have fun, guys.
Yep.
I will probably be back around for the reinventing group tonight.
Awesome.
Take care.
Melissa, nice to virtually meet you.
Likewise. This has been quite enlightening. I always love meeting tattooers from other parts of the world.
That's, I think, the good side of the remote, the things I have to do remotely, because then they give you access to this kind of stuff, which is before you would had to go there and meet people, which is it's different, but it's nice that you can actually get to do this from so far away.
Oh, absolutely. I'm actually thinking about hitting up a few of my friends that live on the other side of the US, out in San Diego, a couple other places too, and just trying to get them on Zoom and maybe record some interviews. I'd love to sit down with a couple of guys from Canada and interview them on Zoom, but it really does open up a lot of doors that we see that would normally otherwise either be very, very expensive or, not accessible at all to most people. So I definitely think that this has been a positive for the tattoo community as a whole.
Yeah, I think so. I think when the intention behind it, is good, then the outcome can only be good. And when you have those tools, then, even, like you said, it opens up new possibilities,
Yeah.
Bro, I'm going to shoot.
Go for it, man.
I'm going to shoot. I'm going to do this consultation. It's already dark here. Damn, it's 4 in the afternoon.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, that's Scandinavia, man. What's your name on Instagram, bro? again?
Philly Inc. I just sent you a request.
Perfect.
Follow.
Perfect. Awesome. Perfect. All right, bro. We're gonna keep in touch, and yeah, enjoy. What is it? Morning over there?
Yeah, it's about 10:30.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Enjoy
All
your
right, bro.
morning, and we talk soon. Yeah.
Yep. Sounds good to me, man. Take care and have a wonderful
Awesome.
day.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers.
Bye.